Good to be here tonight. I've never been to this meeting, but earlier today I was logging in looking for meetings on the intergroup website because my work schedule has changed and I cannot lax on meetings. My sobriety date's January 28th, 2018. That's not my first, and I pray it's my last every day, because if you're an alcoholic of my type, it only gets worse, much worse. And I'll share a little bit about that. I have a home group. It's the NFAD meeting, Northside Fellowship and Discussion. It's a very brief topic out of the big book, and then open share after that. We went Zoom when it all went down. Now it's kind of split where some people are back at the club, some people are not. I've I've been doing more of the Zoom, and I wasn't able to make it tonight because I was working, and I don't like missing my home group. So I've got a sponsor. He's got a sponsor. I sponsor people. Some more successfully than others. But that's a little bit about me. Just, I'll give you a little experience and clarify myself, I guess, as an alcoholic. So I started blackout drinking when I was 12 years old. Um, I remember I drank a little bit before that, getting dad beers out of the fridge and stuff like that. I'd start chugging them, but never really drank until I was 12. A buddy of mine stole a fifth of Bacardi 151, and I took 12 shots, and that's how I drank from there on out. I drank for effect and obliteration. I was a black. I never did not have a blackout. I don't know if some other people experience that, but some people I know only blacked out a few times. They just drank heavily, but I blacked out every time. Um, Fast forward 3 years from there, and my parents decided to throw me into a treatment center. So I was 15, my first treatment center, and that's my first taste of Alcoholics Anonymous. I went to a meeting, and that was the last meeting I went to. Um, was not interested, did not want anything you guys had to offer. So fast forward a few years from there, I'm 22. My mom picked me up from jail for probably the seventh time at that point, and was crying and said, "You need help, and you need to go to a meeting, please." And it still took me a couple weeks to go. Um, but I did go, only because she was bugging me, not because I wanted to get sober. I have other issues besides alcohol. I'm sure a lot of us do. I'm not going to get into those, but eh, it's bad stuff. It's not good. So I've done a couple things right in my time around Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't die, thankfully. I don't know how, and I kept coming back. Um, but one story in particular can sum up the way I like to drink and do other things to excess. Because I will, once I put something in my body that alters my state of mind, I will not stop. It's all I care about. I'd graduated from college somehow, got there on double secret probation, and got my first job out of college. And I'd already had a talking to by my manager about my drinking within the first like 2 months. And there was a business trip in Cincinnati. I guess I'll say it. Who cares? It's been so long ago. And it was open bar. Well, hey, you know what? That's the way I like to roll. So I popped a few Xanny bars, smoked some good weed, and rolled into the open bar. And the next thing I knew, I was very blackout drunk. I punched out the hotel security guard and punched through my fist through the window of the hotel. Needless to say, I was taken to jail and asked not to return to that hotel. So my parents had come get me. They were the last call. I called everybody else. Anyway, there's a funny story. Is when I woke up the next day, I told myself I will. If some, it was Cincinnati's. the downtown jail's a little rough. Okay. And I was like, I can't take anything from anybody here. If someone says something to me, talk shit, I'm going to punch them right in the face just so no one messes with me the rest of the time. And some guy comes up to me and says, "Why you dressed like a bitch?" And I said, "Mother," and he saw me holding back to cold cock him. And he goes, "No, look at you." And I look down, he goes, "Look at everyone else." And I look around and everyone's in these brown, jail jump uniforms. And I was in a pink one. He goes, "They got you in the women's uniform. You must have really pissed them off last night." And I was like, I probably did, because I was just a bad drunk. Um, while I'm walking around the jail, I see a guy who looks really familiar. He's like laying down, and I said, "Do I know you?" I couldn't believe it because I'm from Indianapolis and I'm in Cincinnati. He says, "I'm the bartender who served you all last night." And I said, "What the hell are you doing in here?" And he said, "I got pulled over for a suspended license, or whatever." And I was like, "Okay." And then my immediate and here's how I rolled all the time. It was never my fault. My immediate statement was, "Why'd you overserve me? It's your fault I'm in here, you mother." And he said, "Dude, I tried to cut you off all night. And I called last call like 3 times. And when I called last call, you asked for a shot of whiskey, a glass of beer, a glass of wine, and you chugged all three and you did that 4 times." And I said, I am I'm just I'm a degenerate drunk. If that doesn't tell you guys how I like to roll, I don't know what else will. Um, that's what I did every single time. I had to get to a point of just chaos. Um, so I started coming around alcoholics seriously at 22. I would float in and out because I would never work the steps. I would get a sponsor, but maybe he'd tell me to call him every day, but it might be, I call him for a week or two. And then it was, "Oh, I'll call you every few days," and something, I just, here's the thing, and here's the topic. I still had a lot of old ideas that I could somehow, someday manage this thing on my own. I did not need you guys. Maybe, yes, I admitted Alcoholics Anonymous helped. My life got better after a few months, things would get better, but I did not need to implement anything in my life, such as a program, the 12 steps, being of service to others. I didn't need to do any of that because I would somehow figure out a better way. I was smarter, you know. Well, I'm here to tell you, um, after a lot of years of trying, it does not. For if you're like me, for me, it does not get better. It gets worse. It gets much worse. More wreckage, more pain. Um, you know, and so I found myself a little over 3.5 years ago, kicked out of my house, on the cusp of losing another job. Lost all trust in everybody that was close to me. And I was driving down the road and to work, which a job I was about ready to lose. And my sponsor called me, and I had called him a couple months ago and told him I had relapsed and I needed help. And then I was like, whatever. It was a call I had to make. And he said, I take it you're not in your house. And I said, "Well, how do you know this?" And I'm like thinking, is he following me? What's going on? He goes, "Dude, I passed you on Highway 37 and I know you don't live up here anymore. Come on." And so basically it was exactly what I mean, he was like, "Do you want to get sober?" I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Well, there's a start. At least you're being honest." He's like, "Let's meet at the club. Let's." So I did 90 meetings in 90 days, something I'd never done. I actually did 124 in 90 days. I did not have the job at that point, so I had the opportunity to do that. I went to 2 or 3 meetings a day. Um, Something I did differently was I got a core group of people and phone numbers and guys. And I started contacting them besides my sponsor, and I started developing relationships with them. And I'll tell you, it's been a game changer. Um, Having more than one person that I'm accountable to is huge, and they're accountable to me. And it just works. So I mean, I've got a list of phone numbers. There's probably 5 guys I'm super close with. Um, put a little time behind me. I started after working the steps. I started being of service and sponsoring people. And I'll tell you this: in this last year, with the going Zoom and not being in person, I have one sponsee who I can call a close friend, one of my best friends. He calls me every day. If it was not for him, I mean, I don't know, I'd probably still call people and stuff, but he and we kept each other accountable during this whole time where we were not in person, and it made a huge difference. So today, it's routine. It's all about routine for me. There are non-negotiables. I have not missed prayer and meditation in the 3+ years I've been sober. Every day I do it. I don't care what's going on. I wake up 2 hours earlier than I have to be anywhere, and I do it. I talk to other alcoholics every day, and basically I go to a meeting a day. I probably go to 5 a week, 6 sometimes. Um, it's, I love meetings, so that's what I do. Um, and I get in a workshop every year. We're just about ready to finish the 12 and 12 that we started, a little while back. Um, those things have become a working part of my life. When I first started going to those 90 meetings in 90 days, I did not want to be I'd been through Alcoholics Anonymous. I'd gone to meetings. I'd done that. I did not want to be there. I almost got in a fight with like an octogenarian because he brought a dog into the club. I mean, I was just a piece of work, but I just kept going, no matter what. And slowly but surely, I put a little time in. My life got better. I started implementing and trying to live by the principles and being honest as I could be, being willing to follow suggestions, not thinking I had all the ideas, and being open minded to people, you know, and my life's changed. My life's unbelievable. A lot of people had a bad year in 2020. I had the best year financially, emotionally, spiritually, relationships with my wife, my son, my stepkids, my parents. I mean, all this stuff is just unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't write it out, from a person who had no trust from any of these people for years because of my behavior. And that's what I guess my message is: if I can do it, I promise you, anybody here, and congratulations to all the 90 days or less, I promise you, you can do it if I can do it. Um, it's possible. Luckily, like I said, I did not die and I kept coming back, you know. Um, so I don't know how long that was. Yeah, it was like 14, 13 minutes. I put a timer on myself so I wouldn't talk too long. I got stories if you guys want to hear stories, but no, I'll just leave it at that. And that's all I got. I want to hear some people share.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Really appreciate it.